So these two Rottweilers came out through the gate to the street where I was on a leash with my dog. And before I could pick up Vinny to protect him, one of the Rottweiler got Vinny, and he sustained critical injuries.
Did Vinny die?
This is the plaintiff, Sarah. She says two ferocious Rottweilers attacked her dog, and it was like watching a lion attacking an antelope he wanted to eat. Her poor dog was shaken like a stuffed animal, and all she could do was scream because she didn't know what else to do. Her dog ended up spending 5 hours in surgery and 4 days in an ICU. Luckily, he survived. The defendants never apologized, won't pay for the vet bills, and she's suing for every single penny of the $5,000 she's owed. These are the defendants, Trevor, Megan, and Kathleen. Megan says her mother, Kathleen, is disabled and was in the yard, and somehow the dogs got loose. The plaintiff's dog ended up biting her mother. Her 8-year-old kids were traumatized by the overly dramatic plaintiff who spit in her face and threatened her. And they don't owe this woman anything. They're accused of letting their dogs loose. The defendants have filed a countersuit for $5,000 for pain and suffering and medical bills.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Millian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome,
Okay, everyone's asked not to refer to their last name, so we'll respect that. Sarah, you're suing Trevor and Megan and Kathleen for $5,000. According to you, your vet bills actually exceed that and are in the $7,000, $8,000 range. Because according to you, their dog attacked your dog. You have a counterclaim against them, or Kathleen does. Who's Kathleen? Okay, Kathleen has a counterclaim against her for $76 in medical bills and $4,924 in pain and suffering to reach the $5,000 statutory max as well. Let me hear from you first.
I decided to take my dog, Vinny, for a walk on June 19th, 2015, around 11:30. He was on a leash, and I was walking down the defendant's street, and I heard no stop yelling from the defendant's house. And I turned around and I saw these two big dogs, later found out they were Rottweilers, and they were just charged and running down the yard through the open gate. And before—
Was that a home?
Yeah.
Okay, and so the gate was open at the home?
Yeah, I just want to explain to you the way house is situated. The defendant's house is situated in the back. They have a huge front yard. And this, even though it's fenced, the gate was completely open. So
okay, was it open because it was broken, or was the gate door that you walk in and out of was open?
No, it was the driveway gate. At that point, I didn't know it was broken.
Okay.
Later on, the defendant agreed it was broken.
Okay.
She stated, and I have a notarized report for that.
Okay.
So these two Rottweilers came out through the gate to the street where I was on a leash with my dog. And before I could pick up Vinny to protect him, one of the Rottweiler got Vinny, and he sustained critical injuries.
Did Vinny die?
No, thank God.
All right.
Thank God.
So what happened?
Well, I'm screaming because I didn't know what to do. This is all new for me, and I'm trying to help Vinny, and I screamed, and this Rottweiler did not let go of him. It was almost like he was treating him like a rag doll. And luckily, there were some neighbors coming around us, and one of the neighbors separated.
What kind of dog is Vinny? I'm sorry.
Cockapoo. And he was 20 pounds, a small, fluffy dog, healthy dog.
Okay.
And one of the neighbors separated them. And I went closer to him to console him. He was crying, and he bit me because he was traumatized. And at this point, the defendant, the older woman who was left this dogs under the care of, She came down to the street, and I was like, how could you leave the gate open when you have these two ferocious dogs? I was told, I'm coming to check on your dog. And I told her, get away from us, get away from my dog. And another neighbor who was kind enough came and got us, put us in the car and took us to the veterinarian. And he said, Vinny is critical, and do you want us to revive him? And we said, do whatever you need to do. Please help him. And the surgeon had told us that he has a hernia and multiple rib fractures and more skin injuries. So the surgeon had told us to go home. So me and my husband drove on the street, a defendant street, and we saw a man and a woman right in front of the attack, where the attack happened. So we both got off the car and we said, how could you let this happen?
Okay, are you referring to the two of them when you say we saw a man and a woman?
Yes.
Okay, go on.
No.
It wasn't
No,
the two of
it
you? Who was
wasn't
it?
I've never even met them.
Who are you to...
Well, I think it's,
What, you are Trevor?
Yes.
All right, and what is your relationship to Megan?
I'm her husband.
Okay, who were you out there with?
A friend of mine came to help me. My daughter had been in the hospital, so he was coming to help me. My mom had to go to the hospital. I had a newborn, and I have two other kids. So he was there with us when they arrived.
All right, so you weren't present, correct?
I was not present when the event occurred. I
And
was
you were
present
not, yeah,
after.
we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
You were not present when the event occurred either.
For any of it.
Okay, but you were.
I was.
All right, what happened?
I was out in the driveway. I had just washed both the dogs. My daughter was in the hospital with my new granddaughter, who was premature, having breathing problems, and we were expecting...
How's she doing?
She's getting better.
We were
Reflux.
expecting them home with, that day. So I decided that the smartest thing to do, being that she was having breathing problems, was to clean off the driveway, get rid of the debris and whatever, leaf debris, any pollen or anything, make sure the dogs were clean, make sure the vacuums and, the floors were clean. So I was pretty much done with all of that. I had washed the dogs. I just sat down with my 8-year-old granddaughter.
Okay, did you have any help, or were you able to do that?
Well, my 8-year-old granddaughter is a giant help.
Okay.
It was basically directing traffic, pretty much. I had just sat down, and this is Mac. He's my service dog. He saw the plaintiff and her dog walking up the street. They had just started to approach our property.
When you say approach your property, they're on the public right-of-way.
They were on the road,
Okay.
but they were just coming into view because there's blockage on the neighbor's side.
Mm-hmm.
He alerted. He just barked. He pretty much picked up his head and barked. At that point, the plaintiff looked over, saw the two dogs, who were still laying down at that point, and yanked her dog up, and the dog yelped. I totally understand.
Right.
They're big dogs.
Yeah, they're Rottweilers.
And
there's an open gate. Why is the gate open?
Well,
Is it
I
broken?
couldn't.
Not any longer.
No, was it broken then?
Yes, it
So why
was.
are you washing the two dogs without a leash in the front yard where they can go to the street?
Ordinarily, they do not leave the property.
Yeah, I know.
He
Everybody
never
thinks
leaves
that they
the
have
property.
total and complete mastery and control over the dog until they don't. Until the dog acts like a dog, sees something it wants, and comes out. I mean, this is, this may be your first case. It's not mine. This is what I do all day long. There's no reason to have the gate open. And if it is open and you can't get around to fixing it, keep your dogs inside, or when they're outside, have them on leash, because you have to have your dogs under control. And that's where the problem lies. Now, what happens? The dogs
Okay.
get out.
So the dogs get out. Actually, Mac never left the property. Buddy ran out.
Is this Mac or Buddy?
This is Mac.
Where's Buddy?
At home. Buddy's at home.
Okay.
Lay down.
You said his name.
Buddy got out. He did grab the dog. There was a bit of a tussle, a tug of war. The neighbors came over. They got the dog separated. I came out. I made sure the dog got in the gate. I made sure the neighbor was closing the gate. And I went over to make sure that she was okay and to see if the dog was okay. I reached out. The dog bit me a couple of times on the hand. He was
Her
upset.
dog,
Yes.
right.
He was upset. She was upset. I totally understand. At that point, I was bleeding. It was not stopping, and I called my daughter to let her know what was going on.
And
Pardon
she'd
me.
had the baby how much earlier?
She was
The
in the
baby
hospital.
was 2 months old,
Okay.
if that.
All right, so tell me your contact with her.
Her husband got out of the car and asked what the address was. I gave him the address. She got out of the car. I turned to her. I said, I really hope that your dog's okay. I'm really sorry this happened. And she started screaming at me. How dare you do this to me? What is wrong with you? I said, listen, I wasn't home. I was not there to prevent this. I feel horrible.
You don't need to be there to prevent it. You need to keep your gate closed.
No,
It needs to be closed.
I completely
So-
understand.
And if you're leaving 2 Rottweilers in the care of somebody who can't close it, that's a problem too.
Excuse
and
me.
everything's fine. Oh, I'm washing the dogs in the front. What's the
Excuse me.
problem? No.
Excuse
You
me.
got it. No,
Your
I will
Honor.
not excuse you. I'm in the middle of talking and you can't interrupt me, and I don't want to hear any more testimony from you.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. Kind of special today. We're in LA and we are going to talk to people on the TMZ celebrity tour bus because, hi guys. Because we figured let's get a sample of people from all over the country, tourists and whatnot, talk about the People's Court, talk about where they're from and whatnot. This case, my question is, you got a dog owner who says, I didn't know the gate was broken. Is that ever a defense if the dogs get out?
No, it is not a defense, Harvey. It is not.
Why not? I mean, why not if the person says, look, I did everything okay, I didn't know the gate was broken?
Because at the end of the day, you have huge dogs, and you should know that you should use extra protection to keep your dogs in.
Fair point. What do you think?
I've got a dog, and I would be responsible even if my gate got broken.
But what if they just didn't know?
You're always liable for personal property. It's under unlimited liability.
Okay, what's the song? What's the song I'm thinking of? Let the dogs out. Going inside the courtroom.
You're the reason that this happened, ma'am. You shouldn't be washing those dogs in the front lawn. Even if you meant well, you should be telling that 8-year-old who apparently is spick and spanning the entire house helping you wash dogs, she can close the gate. It was incredibly careless. She should not come home to this if you're trying to help her. She should not come home to this. This was more important, but nobody thought. Nobody thought about it. It wasn't on purpose. Nobody thought about it. So she's out there, according to you, she's screaming to high heaven and going nuts and everything else. And then what happens?
They got in the car and they left. I went back to the house and I tried to put together my house. I had to take my mother to the emergency room
Because of?
she was bitten.
Okay. Can I see the emergency room papers? So you go to the hospital and you're suing for $5,000 based on your injuries at the hospital. But so what were your injuries?
My finger was bitten. The top was bitten off. I have some nerve damage.
Do you have any evidence that you have any nerve damage?
No.
From a doctor, that would...
I did not ask the doctor to search. I mean, I showed
What did
her
they
in
do
the
at the
follow-up.
hospital?
Pardon?
What did they do at the hospital?
They cleaned it out. They debrided it. They gave me a tetanus shot, and they bandaged it up.
All right, look, you're 100% right. You're 100% wrong. On your lawsuit for the dog biting you, I have to decide, well, why did that happen? Well, that happened because the 2 Rottweilers got out through the gate where you had them unleashed in front of the house, and they were able to get out through the gate. So the fact that the dog bites you is predictable. Folks, you need to understand that in these cases, we're never looking at what the dog did. We're looking at, the dog's an animal. They're supposed to act like animals. What we need are the humans to act responsibly. So when liability is assessed, it's based on the conduct of the humans. You get that, right? It's all about the gate. So on your counterclaim against her, 0, because it happened because you left the gate open and had the dogs unleashed in front. And on your lawsuit against them, the statutory maximum is $5,000. Your medicals are way above that. I'm awarding you the $5,000 and ordering them to pay you. Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
So the defendants are out of the courtroom right here. You just heard that you lost this case. You shed tears during the case. What was going through your mind there? Mom?
Well, again, it's a regrettable thing. No one ever denied that, the dog got hurt.
Do you understand that you're completely in the wrong, even though you're nice people?
We understand, and it's very unfortunate and should never have
If you're
happened.
going to wash the dogs, you have to wash them inside the locked gate next time, right?
Of course.
All right, so you've learned the lesson here? You have any last word here?
Normally, the gate's closed.
Normally, but it wasn't.
But since then, we've fixed the gate and installed a run.
Okay. All right, right around the corner, please.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so you just got the maximum award. Step in here. Does that make you feel better?
Yep, and justice been served, and hopefully Vinny's case is a lesson to all the dog owners, big dog owners, dangerous ones, to be more responsible.
How's Vinny doing?
He's doing good. He's doing great. Thank God. Today is his birthday.
Happy birthday, Vinny. Harvey?
Okay, the damages here were a lot. The reason they chose small claims is simple. It is cheaper and quicker. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Stephen Folsom. He says he brought his car to the defendant's garage to have some work done on the engine, and one of his guys damaged the hood. That's right, they dented it, and now they're denying they damaged it. He had no idea the defendant was a shady businessman and is suing him here and now for the $100 it's going to cost him to fix his Jeep. This is the defendant, Will Rempart. He says the plaintiff is the shady guy because when he paid him for the repairs to the engine, the guy shorted him $100. Now he's saying one of his mechanics damaged his hood? Funny how the plaintiff only mentioned the so-called damage to the hood once he started asking about the missing $100 from the bill. He's accused of acting like a real hood.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff brought his car to the defendant's repair shop, says guy damaged the hood, but the defendant says the plaintiff's a fraud. It's the case of boys on the hood.
Stephen Folsom, you are suing WR Auto Repair, represented here by Will Rempart.
Yes.
Yes.
You're the owner?
Yes.
Okay, for $100 in property damage that you say he owes you for damaging your hood. Okay, tell me what's going on.
Well, Your Honor, August 1st, 2015, I had a problem with my vehicle. I was driving, and then the vehicle started...
I can barely hear you.
And then the vehicle started overheating. And, when I had to drive off the road and to get it to safety, I needed a place to have the vehicle repaired. So I sought remedy from the defendant, and I explained to not the defendant, but a defendant representative of the actual problem, which was an overheating radiator.
So you asked them to replace the radiator, or they decided to replace the radiator?
That is correct.
And then what happened?
Paid for the service, and then I just left. And then I was driving to work the next few days. The next thing you know, I was driving home, and then the vehicle was really overheating. It was overheating to the point where I really couldn't drive it any further.
What year car is this?
It's a 2001 Jeep Grand Cherokee.
All right, and then what happened? You had it towed back to their place?
I had it towed back to the facility by my insurance company. Yes,
and what did they say to you then?
The defendant himself, the conversation that I was having with the tow truck driver on the way in, the tow truck driver visibly noticed the defendant and his representative kind of shadily hiding behind the car window.
What are you talking about? You brought your car back to them, and what happened? They look at it and they say it's what?
So they're looking like, oh God, here's this guy coming again. And so I know, just because I'm, an honest citizen, and I can understand that when people are doing something wrong, they're trying to hide behind something.
So what bush were they hiding behind in their own car?
It wasn't really that way, Your Honor, but the situation...
Are you going to get to the point? What was it? You brought back the car,
okay,
and then
I brought back the car, and then the guy takes it off the truck, and then I say, I walk up to the defendant and say, well, this is the problem. I'm going to work. The car's messed up
right,
again.
And so I'm going to you. What did you say to him was the problem if you guys had just fixed the radiator?
But when he came back, he told me the radiator is leaking again.
Okay.
I told him it's a new radiator and the radiator is fine. I tell him you have to replace the fan, the radiator fan, and a water pump because the water pump is leaking.
And he says what? No or yes?
He said yes.
Okay, and do you do that?
After that, I do the job.
And then he takes the car back?
He take the car back.
And everything is fine?
He take the car back, he never come back. He never called me.
But according to your statement, he owes you still $100.
$100. And
well, why did you let him take the car without paying you in full?
no, because I wasn't making a mistake. He gave me $300 when I count the money, and I called him next day. I told him, I make a mistake. You're supposed to give me, we make a mistake. You're supposed to give me like $420. He give me like $320. He told me he's gonna go back to the car to check the receipt. And he texted me back. He told me I'm right. He's gonna give me 2 more. After that,
So you made a mistake and you undercharged him $100?
But he got the receipt.
Is
He
that
can
what you're
check it.
saying?
Yes. I mean,
And let me see the text where he says, "Oh gosh, you're right."
Yes.
No, stay where you are. I'll give it to my bailiff. He gets very nervous when people come near me. Very jealous man. Did he, in fact, let's jumpstart this. Did he, in fact, tell you that we made a mistake in the payment here, you owe me another $100?
Well, actually, Your Honor.
Yes or no?
Yes.
And did you
But that
say
was
to
through
him,
a
yes?
text message, not a phone call.
Okay,
That was-
whatever. So he said text message. That's why he's looking at his phone.
Never pick up the phone.
He said I
Never
called.
pick up
He
the
said
phone
I
when I
called.
call.
Okay, everybody just stop. And did you say to him, I'll bring you the $100?
That is correct. I did say that.
And then you didn't bring him the $100?
Well, that is correct.
Did your car break down anymore after this, or is
My
it
car
fine?
did not break down.
So he does a repair, you owe him $100, and yet you're here suing him for $100, and why is that?
My hood is damaged.
Let's talk about that. What happened?
Okay, I was in Ocean City, Maryland at one point, Your Honor, and a few days, the day after the defendant sent me the text. So I said, okay, I made the mistake. You know, he said that he made the mistake, and I said, okay, no problem. When I come back, I'll give you the $100.
Okay, so hold on. You pick up the car on what day for the last time?
It's August 26th.
And
August
then
26th,
you leave
2015.
to Ocean City, Maryland.
That is correct.
When?
The very next day.
And then you are in Ocean City, Maryland from August 27th through when?
I think it's the 30th. The 28th through the 30th, I'm sorry.
All right, and then you come back on the 30th, and what happens?
Well, no, actually before that, the day before I come back to New Jersey, me and my wife are coming from farmer's market. So I'm walking out of the store, and I'm going to let her in the vehicle. So as I'm going into the passenger side of the vehicle, I'm walking to the car, opening the door. And I'm like, what's wrong with my car? So then when I'm walking, close up to the vehicle, I visually inspect it, put my hand on, look at it, and my hood is bent.
May I see a picture of the dent in your hood? How have you assessed that the dent in your hood is worth exactly $100, the amount you owe him?
Well, actually, Your Honor, a few days after the discovery in this case, I actually looked online and did the research to see how much it would be to
How can you possibly look
replace.
online to know what it would cost to do body work on a car? And what am I looking at?
That's the
Why don't you come over here, cowboy, and show me where I can see a dent on this, because I don't even know what I'm looking at. First of all, do you have a real picture, or you just have this?
I have it on myself.
Okay, that'll do. Let me see the picture, because that'll be better than this. Is this glass?
No, that's the hood. That's metal.
What's that? Oh, that's a reflection.
Right, a reflection.
Okay. And where's the dent? Because I really can't.
It's not really a dent. It's like a indentation. Like the hood is like.
So you're referring to like that?
That is
and then
correct.
all of a sudden it's wider there?
That's correct.
What do you think he did? Open your hood and hit it from the bottom to make it lift a little bit that way? Because that's not even like something that somebody would do like this.
Your Honor, I have no.
Are you making all this stuff up because you don't want to pay the guy his $100?
No,
Exactly.
No.
Well, that's go ahead and go back there, because I don't want to be hostile to you when you're that close, because you're a big guy. But here's the thing. That's like the first reaction that I have, but then that doesn't make sense, because he's not just sitting at home saying that. He is filing a lawsuit against you and saying that. He could sit at home and say that, and I got a feeling that you would say, ugh, and just go like that, because I can't help but notice that you're here and you didn't counterclaim against him for the $100.
And he never called me.
I know, but you are here and you never counterclaimed against him for the $100. And the reason for that is what? Too much trouble? You just want to be done with him?
No, because the way he texts, I think he's not gonna give it to me. But
I know, but you're here and I can make him give him to you, and then you didn't counterclaim.
But he come in, I think he didn't want me here.
Oh, welcome to America. This is how it works. Okay.
So is this plaintiff a little suspicious?
Definitely so. And my concern is that the plaintiff didn't bring the evidence up at the beginning of the trial.
Only when you owed $100.
Yes.
Point. What do you think? That's what I think too. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Going inside the courtroom.
What evidence, Mr. Folsom, do you possibly have that this repair company, who was busy repairing your car, somehow did something that caused your hood to go, when closed, to see the seam go like this and then a little bit higher. What on earth did he do? Was he in your car hiding from other customers in a shadily fashion? What?
Your Honor.
What evidence do you have?
I have never been in an accident in that vehicle, ever.
He checked the car before he left.
However, Your Honor, when I was at the shop, a little bit after, when I went home, I actually went to inspect the work.
Well, maybe you don't know your own strength. Maybe you're the one who dented it.
No, I didn't. No.
Before
No,
he take the picture, whatever I did.
Yeah, I did.
He take the picture.
If you take a picture, how do you not notice what you noticed here?
Well, actually, no. The reason why, Your Honor, is because every time I went into the shop, because you had the vehicle.
Don't look at him. Talk to me.
I'm sorry. The defendant had the vehicle for 2 extra weeks, and
no, I don't care. Answer what I'm asking.
Okay.
Me pica aquí, me raca aquí. It itches me here, and you're scratching me here. Scratch me here.
Okay,
Answer my question.
Every day, okay, Your Honor. Every day that I went into that facility, my hood was up. There was no way that I.
Yeah, that's how cars get fixed. Will you please tell me if you looked at the car, picked it up, inspected the whole thing, and photographed it before you took it from his place? That's what they tell me.
No, actually, before I didn't inspect it right before. I didn't take the picture. You know what? I took the picture when I was going into the shop. I just happened to be there.
Oh yeah, on the day that you're picking it up,
No,
you're taking pictures of the car. You don't notice anything, and then you notice it 3 days later. But he should pay you $100. No, verdict for the defendant.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You heard the judge?
Yes.
No. What's your reaction to this?
I'm devastated. I'm devastated.
How come?
Well, because the gentleman know that he actually damaged my vehicle.
Well, you keep saying that, and you suspect them, and it's one thing to say that, but it's another thing to come into court and actually prove it.
Well, that vehicle was not damaged when I left it at the facility, and when I went to pick up the vehicle, it was damaged.
Yeah, well, why didn't you point it out right away?
I didn't see it until after the fact.
You should have examined it more closely. Okay, we see what you need to do next time. All right, right around this way. He thinks you did it.
No, I didn't.
He thinks you did it.
I didn't do it. Because when I keep calling for the money, after 4 days, he called me, he told me I damaged the wood. And he sued me for $100 he owe me.
All this for $100? You think he went through all this?
Just for the time. And in the hood, if I damage the wood, I don't think the hood is going to cost for $100. It could be more.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What do you think, Harvey?
So this guy didn't have a case, didn't damage the hood. But if you do think somebody might have damaged your property, check it before you leave the repair shop. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
These are the plaintiffs, Giulio and Nancy Riggio. Giulio says his daughter lived in the defendant's house with 3 other girls for the 4 years they attended college. And now that they've moved out, that guy's turned into a villain. The man must have something wrong with him or something, because he's withholding $382 of security for a non-issue. And he's here in the name of justice suing him for the return of their money. This is the defendant, George Dallas. He says the plaintiff installed track lighting for the girls 4 years ago. And when they moved out, he took the lights with him. The lease states the lights would become his property when the tenants moved out. The guy ripped them off the ceiling, and he withheld some security to cover his loss. End of story. He's accused of lighting up a dispute.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiffs say that their daughter is a college student, was taken advantage of by the landlord, but the defendant says the girl and her roommates took the lights on the ceiling with them. It's the case of the lights are out and no one's home, literally.
Giulio and Nancy Riggio?
Yes.
You are suing George and Carmela Dallas. You have authority to represent Carmela. Is that your wife?
Yes.
Okay. Your child's former landlords, but I guess you guys signed the lease?
Yes.
Okay. For $382, representing your portion of the security deposit, which has been withheld from you, you say wrongfully. Okay. What happened?
Pretty much on February 26, 2011, we did a walkthrough in the house that my daughter took with three other girls. And we walked through and pretty much saw certain things that we, had to get done in the house. And pretty much when we walked upstairs, there was one light fixture in the bedroom and one light fixture over the stair, like a porcelain fixture, single lamp fixture.
Okay.
So I asked George pretty much if I could do something with the lighting pretty much because it wasn't
Are you
adequate.
an electrician by
yes,
trade?
Yes, I am. Local
okay.
3.
Now, why were the girls going to be living there? Was there a reason? Was it college?
For college.
Okay. Mom, can you switch with her and let me just have her in here for a moment? And where were you going to college?
I went to Sacred Heart University.
All right. And you lived in the same house all 4 years?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. No dorms over there?
There were, but we were there for 6 years total, so.
Everything was smooth sailing?
Yeah.
Every year you'd renew the lease?
Yes.
Okay. Ever any increase in the rent?
No.
Okay. So, Dad, you ended up changing the lighting.
That's
because
correct.
according to you, you had his authority to do so. And you changed it to what?
I actually, over the stairway, there was one fixture, one porcelain fixture. I removed that and put a track light with four heads on it.
Four cans?
Four, removable, tracks, so you could pretty much tilt them where you want it. Because they had 2 desks set up in that area. And in the bedroom, there was also a single light. I removed the single light and put up 2 surface-mounted 4-foot fluorescent lights. I have a picture of them if you want to take a look.
Can I see a picture? Because
Yes.
I'm having a hard time
Yes, I'm
picturing.
sorry.
And let me see any emails between you.
Yes.
That's old.
Okay, so that's the light that was there.
Correct.
Oh, and then you put these
I took them down already because I didn't have them at the time with a picture of them.
Do you have a picture of the track lighting?
No, I don't.
Do you? Okay. All right, so when you're moving, you send an email to him saying what?
Pretty much I sent an email saying that we will be, once we leave at the end of the lease, I would like to know if you'd like to purchase the lights.
The track lighting that you put up, that he gave you permission to put up?
Yeah, or I would remove them. I mean, I gave him the option. I was pretty much saying if he does want them, since there was only one, an old fixture there, I figured if he wanted to leave it to pretty much modernize the place, I would leave him there and charge him for it. If not, I would remove them. So he decided that after 4 years, without an increase, he said, with the rent, that he would think that it should stay.
Did you keep the original light that was there?
Yes, I did. When I removed it, I left it in the closet up in their bedroom. And then when I pretty much took my fixtures down, I replaced what was there. The only thing I didn't replace was, to be honest with you, John, is in the over the stairs. I didn't have time running late, so I left the track there.
Right,
and I
so you
left one
didn't
head
patch
there.
up the holes at the track left and replace that light.
The track was still there.
I never took the track down.
No, the track was still there.
I left the
That means that he's got to do something.
Well,
that means he has to do something. He has to put lighting in that track, pay an electrician, and have the guy come and replace the can. You were kind of surprised when you read the email, right?
I was very surprised, and I also cited the clause in the lease that indicated that anything
Well,
that
no. If you had, what ends up happening is, let's take a step back. You end up sending him an email on Friday, February 20th at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, saying the 2 lights upstairs in the bedroom and the track light are going to be removed and replaced with the original light that was there. If you want them to stay, the lights cost us $100 and the track was $150. Please let us know. On February 23rd, 3 days later, when was going to be the end of the lease? The month of February?
June 1st.
June
no.
1st.
Oh, so,
June.
okay.
Yeah.
On February 23rd, he sends an email back saying, I'm a little surprised that you're looking to retrieve the lights that you installed 4 years ago. Perhaps the fact that there was no rent increase during the past 4 years would be enough to offset the cost of this improvement. And then any and all above described work shall become part of the dwelling. So let me see the lease. Does anybody, I want to see a good legible copy of the lease.
I'll take one.
Okay. Tenants will not remodel or make any structural changes, alterations, or additions to the premises and will not paint, decorate, install, attach, remove, or exchange appliances or equipment, nor change the existing locks of the premises without prior written permission of the landlord or his agent. Any of the above described work shall become part of the dwelling. Okay. So what he's saying is, yeah, he told you to go ahead and take it out and then you got to leave it the way it came, which is what most things say. Okay. But then he told you right away, 4 months before you removed the stuff, no, it's part of the dwelling. And he showed you this part. He said, so those belong to me, do not remove them. And you removed them anyway. So now let's talk about, is it part of the dwelling is what I meant. Okay. The lease says it's part of the dwelling, which is his argument. Tell me why that is part of the dwelling. Go ahead.
Well, there's a clause in the lease that talks about anything that gets attached to the dwelling becomes part of the dwelling.
Right.
And I asked my attorney whether light fixtures are considered appliances. And he said, his interpretation under Connecticut law is that a light fixture is considered an appliance.
Right. So go ahead. What is it you kept of the security deposit and why?
My cost of restoring lighting, which it was replacing 4 of the cans that had been removed.
Okay.
And okay, putting lighting back in that room instead of just having one fixture, 3 LED hi-hats, which I put in instead of the fluorescent lights because I didn't like the fluorescent lights.
Yeah, but why do they have to pay that?
Each hi-hat was...
Yeah, I know what, I'm sorry. Am I missing something?
$50.
All right, listen to me. Stop. He put this in the girls' room. That is what he had in the girls' room. He took that out. This is what you had. So if he took this out, he's trying to say, well, this is all you get. I agree with you. He's wrong. You get this. Go out and buy 2 of these. But what you did is to actually install hi-hats and pay an electrician to do that. Why would they have to pay for that?
Because my cost of purchasing 2 4-foot fluorescents, okay, is actually greater.
Prove it.
Okay. I don't have a catalog here, but I know if I go to Home Depot, a 4-foot fluorescent.
You kind of have to prove that.
Is well over $100. Mm-hmm. Okay.
What say you, electrician, that 4-foot fluorescents are?
4-foot fluorescent wraparounds, they probably at Home Depot, if you want to buy them, they're probably about $60.
Each or both?
Each.
Mm-hmm.
So 120 and the bulbs.
That's with the bulbs. They come with the bulbs in the package. But can I say something?
The total is 3 hours of labor, which was $305. Switch plate, 59 cents. What was that?
There were a couple of switch plates, okay, that were broken that I needed to replace, and a couple of outlet covers that I needed to replace.
What happened here, really? Seriously, because you couldn't have been nicer when this whole thing started out. I saw an email that you sent them early on. It's an email that you sent him on February 26, 2011, which was lovely. And it's talking to him about being a parent and knowing that your girls are safe. And
we did feel
your
that
girls
way.
are the best. Girls, colon, you have great parents. Parents, colon, you already know your girls are the best. Who wrote this? Someone with a lot of soul. Was it you or your wife? Tell the truth.
Both.
Okay, it was really sweet.
But
you know?
she wasn't there.
No, it was you. No, it was you. And now Carmela and I know we have a new extended family. I mean, it's just beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe you people are here. You're killing me.
Neither can we.
Well, I know, but you know what it is? Each of you are playing Canis Mas Macho over $300 when there's this relationship that's so cute all this time, you know? All right, folks.
Can I also say
I'm going to take,
something?
no, we're done.
Okay.
I'm going to take a short recess. I need everything, please.
Okay.
So if you're a tenant, are you allowed to take the lights when you leave?
They improved the property that is owned by the landlord, so in all technicality, they can claim that property once it's been added.
Wow, you sound like a real estate guy.
Yes, I have my license.
Okay, fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
We've got you with permission to alter. We've got a lease that you signed. I didn't sign it, you did.
Correct.
That says any alterations become part of the dwelling. I think that what you asked me to interpret that as is, well, only if they're without permission. That's not how that reads. It says, A, you got to get permission, and anything you alter is part of the dwelling. So I got to ask myself, is lighting part of the dwelling because it's an alteration? And obviously it is, because there's no question it is. So yeah, you're right. You get to have the track lighting, and you get to have the two, things. Does that amount to 382? Even by your math, put your hand down. Okay. Even by your math, it does. It amounts to 382. Because if it's $120 for that, and then you got to pay an electrician a couple $100 to come out there, even not getting to the cost of the cans, it's more than 382. So he's right. He has a right to keep the amount that he kept. By the way, there's no question that within 30 days he wrote the letter informing you of why he was keeping it, right? Okay. Because that would disable him from being able to claim it. But no, he's crossed every T and dotted every I. He's right. My verdict is for the defendant.
You heard that gavel come down, and the judge say my verdict is for the defendant.
Yes.
Is the plaintiff here?
Yes, I disagree with it. I never, I figured a light fixture is not part of a dwelling, but I had permission, but I guess I already,
disagree with it, but you understand it?
Yeah, somewhat. I understand somewhat. So I guess when you read a lease, I guess you have to pretty much, even though
How
you're...
did this whole nice relationship between you and the landlord, what broke down there? Wasn't he really a good landlord?
No, not really. I pretty much did a lot of work
when
in the
a landlord
house.
charged you
All those
$1.50
nice messages?
for a switch
That was in the
plate,
beginning, the 4 years when we first met. A lot
Yeah.
of people say a lot of things when you first meet, but then after 4 years, I guess you see somebody's true colors.
Okay. All right. Head right down there. All right, come on in here. And so you win your case. Your feeling on this outcome here?
I believe the judge made the correct decision. I wasn't trying to overcharge the tenants. I was trying to Okay, just point out that my cost of replacing what they had
You're charging
done.
them $1.50 for the plates and stuff like that?
No, all I was, and by the way, none of the three other tenants had any objection.
Okay. Harvey?
You know, just so you know, Kurt, the law in most states is that it's the intent of what you do when you make an improvement to an apartment. And when you put lights into the walls, that's the landlord's.